Alright friends, starting like a minute earlier than usual. Okay, which is very surprising. Surprised I'm not super late. Okay, what are we gonna be doing today? It's exciting. Okay, so actually let's do a recap from last time's stream. So what did we do last time? We got familiar with Git, like we already did that. Actually, we did that 2 streams ago. Once we were familiar with Git, we went ahead and got familiar with node packages. So again, a node package is a little package that someone put online that adds more functionality to your code, right? It basically packs a bunch of long functions that you'd have to write yourself and into like these short little functions that someone else made, okay? So now how do you install that? You go to node.js.com, right? And then you download Node.js, and then you type in, once you're in the console, type in npm install, and then whatever package you want. We're using the Twitter package here. So I'm gonna right click coding lessons, add project folder. Oh wait, no, I'm gonna show in file manager. Okay. So what is this gonna do? This is going to open up this file manager place. Okay, so I'm gonna go into coding lessons and then Trump Spanish. Okay, so we're gonna learn about JSON today, all right? So what is JSON? JSON is a format, right? It's a file type, okay? So we've been dealing with you know, our entire lives we've been dealing with text files, right? .txt, right? And .html files, we've been learning about that recently, and also a .js files, right? There's also a .json file, and what it is it helps you store an object as a file. Now that sounds super weird, but what if I wanted to save this params function to my computer somewhere, right? So that if I wanted to use it again later on, I would just have to all I would have to do is type in I'm blanking. I would be able to access it on my computer somewhere, right? Oh, I didn't even do the recap. Okay, let's do a recap of last time's video. So we learned about Node.js, and Node.js basically allows you to use packages, and packages are just, excuse me, they just add extra functionality to your code. So once you've installed Node.js from online, you go into the console, type in npm install space package and whatever package you want, right? I'm repeating myself now. Go ahead and you're gonna type in npm space install space Twitter. And we wrote some code here, right? So we also created a Twitter developer account, right? And that lets us write apps to Twitter. And so you have these things here, which are basically the consumer keys, consumer secret, access token key, and access token secret. These are the usernames and passwords to your app, right? So you actually have multiple usernames and passwords. You have 2 of them, right? So the key and the secret, the key and the secret. Now, yeah, once we did that, we created an object called the client object, right? That basically lets us access the Twitter API using these usernames and passwords, right? We're logging in. That's what this client thing does. And then we type in some params, and we learn about HTTP requests. An HTTP request is just, hey, we're gonna send a request like a just like a regular, any old mail request, right? A physical request. And we're going to send it to the Twitter website, right? Now, the Twitter website is going to get that request. Any specific details, we put inside of that request and then send something back to our computer, right? And so now our computer, using that information, it can it can do stuff, right? And so this is an outline of what that is. So I'll explain more of this later, but that's basically the recap. So now okay, back to what we're learning, right? What is JSON? What is JSON? Again, it's a file type, right? It basically helps you store objects, right? So what is an object? Again, we've seen this form of object, right? Where you have curly brackets, the name of a feature or a variable, and its value, right? But there's actually another kind of object, I guess. It's called an array. An array is just a list of things, right? So we represent them using these square brackets. So like eggs, bacon, right? You know, cheese. All right. Let's say this is your grocery list, right? A grocery list is an array of items, right? You have the first thing you want to buy, eggs. The second thing you want to buy, bacon, and the third thing you want to buy, cheese. You can think of an array as a dictionary, right? Where the feature, or this is also called the index, or actually it's called the key. The key is just a set of numbers. So it actually starts at 0 because we start counting in computer science using 0, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 is eggs, right? I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna type in all of the necessary code. 1 is bacon, right? And 2 is cheese, right? You can think of an array as this, right? An ordered list, okay? So we can also save those as JSON files. Now, how do you actually do that, right? You know what? I'm gonna show you a good coding practice, or not really good coding practice, of what a coder would do. And I would just type in JavaScript JSON, okay? Let's learn something, because to be completely honest, I don't remember everything exactly myself, okay? So look here, this is an example of a JSON object, right? It has just an object, right? It has curly brackets, a feature, employees, and its value. Its value is actually a list of things. Its value is an array. And inside of that array, you actually have dictionaries, right? This is the point of JSON. When you have a bunch of like layers of like objects and stuff, you have a bunch of layers where the dictionary, the value of a dictionary is an array, and inside of that array it has more dictionaries with more stuff in that. That gets complicated, right? And so JSON is this format, right? It's a syntax, right? A format of how we write these different objects, right? And so we're going to create a JSON file, right? And it's actually pretty simple. Let's go back to coding lessons. Inside of Trump Spanish, create new file. We're going to call it config.json, okay? Config.json. Now, how do we use that? Let's Google this, alright? Actually, a JavaScript read file. How do you read? I've looked this up before. Whoa. This is getting complicated. Is there an easier way to do this? Okay, that's the fetch API. Is there an easier way to do this? Okay, hold on. JavaScript file reader. You guys can tell I'm a pro JavaScript developer. Oh, whoa. Reading files in JavaScript. Okay, local files in JavaScript. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm losing it. Okay, we have this file reader, right? What? What? Okay. I'm pretty sure there's an easier way to do this. Alright, this is where you guys get to watch me fumble and like mess up horribly. And just figure things out. That's what you guys get to see. Oh my. Okay. Alright. I'm getting tired, man. Okay. No, we gotta do this episode. Okay, we gotta do this episode. File reader, right? Alright, what can you do with file reader? Methods, read as text. Blob? What are blobs? Why is this so complicated? Hold on. JavaScript read local JSON file. Okay, there's gotta be. I remember doing this. I forgot how though. Okay, they're using jQuery. Okay. What? Require? Here, maybe I go into my other like JavaScript stuff and I figure out. Okay, you guys are gonna. Hold on, no. Hold on, I'm gonna open up. Oh. I'm gonna open up an old file and see how to do it. So I'm cheating here. Whatever, man. Looking at my old stuff. Okay. Let's do that one. This is exciting, isn't it? watching me mess around and figure things out. So, okay, if you guys are confused what I'm trying to do, I'm creating this local file, right? Local means on my computer. This file called config.json, right? It'll basically, here, I'm going to type out exactly what it'll have. So it'll have a dictionary, and inside of this dictionary, it'll have 4 values, right? And the 4 values I'm looking for are these consumer key values, right? These consumer access blah, blah, values. So in JSON, everything you have, every like variable name or whatever, it has to be enclosed in quotation marks, right? Because it's a string, right? A string is a list of characters, it's a word, blah, blah, blah. And it has to be double quotes. So I've been using single quotes. I'm going to have to fix all this. I wonder if there's an easier way. I know there's an easier way to format this, but I'm going to do it manually. But basically, I want to read this file, convert it from a JSON object back to a regular object, and then use it, right? Use its values. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, it's alright. So why am I doing this? This is for privacy, right? So this is basically so I can upload this, so that, yeah, I can upload all of my, sorry, I just blanked. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. Oh my. Okay. Oh my. Are you serious? Are you serious? Okay, this is gonna be really silly. Okay, this is so I can, yeah, upload all my code to GitHub without you guys like having to copy paste my user keys. You guys can create your own. Is there any easier way to do this? No, I think yeah, I'm gonna use this thing. Okay, I'm gonna use this version, right? Var JSON equals require. Sorry, I have a bad cough. Okay, dot slash. What that means is we're gonna type in config.json. Yeah, okay, that's exactly what it's looking for. All right, and then semicolon. Dot slash means, hey, look inside of this directory. Okay, if we didn't have that, actually, I don't know what would happen if we didn't have that. I feel like nothing would change. So JSON. Now, what does this do? Var JSON equals require dot config. Dot slash config.json, right? It basically loads up this object right here that we created over here. And so you'll notice that this JSON file, hey, it looks just like a regular dictionary, and that's because that's what a JSON file is, right? It could just be a regular dictionary or regular array, right? There's nothing really special about it. So when I say var JSON equals require, this JSON object suddenly becomes this here, right? Hopefully that's simple enough. So that means the JSON value, that means JSON.consumer key, right, is this exact value here, consumer key, right? Consumer key, yeah, this consumer key right here. And so I'm going to do that with all of these, and then eventually, that way I can upload my code, right, to GitHub. I can finally push my code. Consumer secret. If that didn't really make sense, here, let me try and explain it better once I type this out, because I can't explain while I'm typing. JSON.access token key and JSON.access token secret, not token. Okay, save. So when I say var JSON equals require, this stuff here, I'm basically saying, hey, look inside of this folder, right, called and look for this file called config.json, right? So once it finds this file called config.json, right? Excuse me. Upload this stuff, right? Upload this stuff, this dictionary stuff, into this JSON object right here, right? So this JSON object becomes this JSON object, right? Maybe I should label it something else, like configuration.json. But hopefully you get, or like, I don't know, like username and passwords. But JSON's just small and simple, whatever. So That means if you don't remember how to access a file or like contents of an object, right? When you type in JSON.a, right? When you have an object, right? Let's say your object is A1, right? A1, nice. A1 sauce. When you say JSON.a means, hey, look inside of this object and look for the key that says A. Once you have the key that says A, this JSON.a becomes the value of it, right? So JSON.a becomes 1, right? So when I say JSON dot consumer key, it looks inside of this object, right? It looks for the key called consumer key, which is this key right here, and then gives you the value of it, right? So that way I can store my consumer keys inside of this script, right? Without actually putting them inside of this script, right? Hopefully that makes sense. I can use them in this script without actually physically writing them out. So what am I actually gonna do now is I'm gonna add a thing to yeah, coding lessons. I'm gonna call it a .ignore file, right? .ignore or get ignore, right? Right? Yeah, .get ignore, right? That's what it is. It's called, right? Okay, all right. Basically, whatever I put in here, it doesn't it should ignore it, right? I think it's Trump Spanish / config.json or just config.json. I'm just gonna include both just in case. So when it finds these files, what it'll do is when I'm pushing my stuff, it'll ignore adding this this config.json file, right? So I don't want to give you guys my config.json file, right? Even though you can see it in all these episodes here, I don't want it to be a part of the master code that I'm sending to you guys, right? So you guys can use, what your goal is now is you're supposed to create your own config.json file inside of this Trump Spanish folder, and then add in, instead of, my consumer keys and stuff, you have to name it exactly the same thing here and include your consumer keys here. So just copy and paste. Now I can finally stage all my changes, which means, hey, we're gonna make these official. I'm gonna call it I'm gonna call this change adding config.json. Yeah, and I'm gonna commit it to the master copy, right? Now I'll let that load. Once it's committed, I can click push 1 here, and that pushes my code to the master code, right? Which means you guys are able to access it now. So once because actually I don't know. Once this is pushed, right? Once this is done by pushing the data to the master code, you guys can type in git pull inside of a command prompt, and you guys will get the code, right? So the thing is, now the problem is here is actually, yeah, no, there shouldn't be any problem. All right, there shouldn't be any problem. All right, let's test this by running it in a command prompt. All right, so if you don't remember, type in cmd, and now you have a command prompt here. I'm gonna use the Node compiler, right, which basically turns my code here into code my computer can run. I'm gonna type in node script.js and see if this works. I should get one tweet called hello world, because that's the tweet we created last time. It'll take some while, not only because my computer's slow, but also because it has to send a request to Twitter, which might take a while. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, while that's loading, this is a test run, and it's sad because it won't even run. Okay, so what is our goal now? All right, what is our goal of this project, this Trump Spanish project? Again, our goal is to, whenever Trump posts a tweet, right, we respond with a tweet, okay? And we respond with a tweet that is his tweet, but in Spanish. So let's try creating like some kind of listener that enables us to, like, whenever he sends a tweet, for us to like respond immediately. I hope that makes sense. Here, hopefully, all right, Twitter API, wait, no. Yeah, Node, right? Node. You can get rid of those now. Okay, this is the Twitter API we're using. Okay, what kind of things does it have? It allow us to use. Okay, get, post, and stream. All right. So okay. Hmm. You guys are just gonna watch me read. I really should have done this beforehand, shouldn't I? Have okay. One way we could do this, which is the really cheap way out. Hold on. Okay. So what is a stream? A stream is it kind of sounds like what it is. It kind of is what it sounds like. Where you, instead of just using a get request, hey, I'm gonna send a get request and then it'll give me back whatever it can. Stream, it says, hey, maintain this open connection with Twitter, right? So Twitter and I can talk at any time. I don't have to send like a mail asking them to send me something back. I can always ask them immediately and they'll respond immediately, right? And so that's kind of what we want, because when Twitter, we're like, when we have this open connection between Twitter and us, when Twitter sends, when Trump tweets something, right, we'll have an update like immediately. Okay, let's see if there's any way we can do that. All right, let's look at the docs. All right, enough of me like looking at this API. There's probably something on the documentation that we can look at. Okay, can we filter real-time tweets? Okay, get only the tweets you need by using advanced tools. Okay, with the real-time streaming API. Let's hope this works. Standard, yeah, okay, statuses, filter. Okay. Guides, no, not guides, I don't want the guides. Guides, API reference. Okay, so it'll be this whole streaming thing here, okay? Which is super weird. Okay, streaming API. Alright, so we're gonna create a stream here. And it looks kind of difficult. Let me close this welcome guide. Why is it open still? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and copy paste some data really. Here, let's comment this out. We're not gonna use it yet. We're gonna create a stream instead. So var stream equals clients dot stream, right? The only option they have for us is this statuses / filtered like option, right? And inside of this, we're gonna put parameters. Now we could write params here, right? And then put params here. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. What am I doing? Params. And then you see, they just kind of created one here. They just kind of created an object here, but we're gonna use an object that we created up here. Okay. If that really makes sense, I'm sorry. I'll clear things up real soon. Okay, so a function. So I can either say stream.on. Yeah, okay. There's two ways to do this, and I'll explain the difference later. Yeah, okay. So I created this stream. Now I have an open connection with them. So stream.on means, hey, actually, okay, stream.on has this first variable, right? You see that the first variable here in this website is data and error. So, okay, stream.on means, hey, on data, as in when I get this message called data from the server, I'm gonna do something with it, right? Actually, call this function, right? Call this function called event, right? And so, let's just, alright guys, let's just see what kind of events we get. Console.log events and events.text, okay? Alright, I'm excited. I don't actually know what this will do. Did my code even run from earlier? Hello world. Okay, it did. So it actually did pull the text from earlier. It just took so long. Why is my computer so slow? Um, yeah, okay. Excuse me. So wait, let's go back to the API reference. So here, they have this thing called, excuse me, statuses slash filter. Now they called it post, but I don't think it really matters. So they have a couple things here. Follow. A comma separated list of user IDs indicating the users. Okay, so instead of screen name, we're gonna call this follow. All right. So this is super weird. All right, you see, it's really clear. When I read these little documentation. Okay. All right, let's do some story. All right, when I first started coding, right, and I started reading when I started reading the documentation, right, for different like APIs and stuff, I had no idea what was going on, because they just kind of throw a bunch of information at you and they kind of hope you get it. So at this point, I've gotten really good at reading documentation and understanding like where they put things and why they put it there. But here, let me just go through. Yeah, how about this? Let's just go through a piece of the documentation, okay? And let's go to here instead, the post, retrieve, and engage with tweets. So here are the different parts of an HTTP request. All right, let's go over this one more time, okay? So you have this client here, which means it's us. It's us. All right, the client is us, and you log in using these username and stuff. Right, this is called authorization. All right, so yeah, when you make an HTTP request, there are different steps, and the first one is authorization. Right, in order to, it's like when you're playing a game. What's the first thing you do when you open up like Blizzard or Steam or whatever? You have to log in, right? You have to show that you're there. You have to define yourself in that system, right? And you define yourself using your username and password. So we create ourselves, right, by saying client. Now, the next thing, right, in a HTTP request, let's go to API reference. Let's go to the first thing, statuses slash update, right? And again, there are a couple the two big like HTTP request types, right? They're called HTTP methods, right? Are post and get, right? Post means I want to give the website something. Get means I want to get something from the website, okay? So post slash status update. Now again, I went over this last video, but just in case you don't remember, right? Each post and each get method has a specific version, right? There's a specific option, and the option in this case is statuses slash update, okay? Statuses slash update. That's the name of this specific get option, okay? Now, if you see here, this stream is the third big like HTTP method, right? It's technically not HTTP, or whatever, but basically, its specific name in this case is statuses slash filter. That's the version of the stream method I'm using, right? The version of the post method I'm using is statuses slash update. Okay, so this is the name of a more specific version of the post method. Okay, so now you have the name, right? you have yourself, the client. You have what kind of method you're using, and you have the name of the specific kind of method you're using, okay? And then you have the parameters. What are parameters? They're extra details you write inside of your request, right? So if I want to post a tweet, what kind of details do I want to include in that? Okay, obviously I want to tell Twitter, hey, I want to post a tweet. How do I do that? I say post, right? I'm going to use a post method. I'm going to use a specific statuses slash update method. And yeah, that's the specific method I'm using. And also, I have to include what I actually want to tweet, right? I can't just give them a blank request saying, hey, I want to tweet something. They'd be like, oh, what do you want to tweet? And I had to have nothing to say, right? So I also have to include the details, like what I actually want to tweet. So in this case, when I'm actually getting something from the Twitter website, I'm saying, hey, I want something from the Twitter website. And the detail I want to include there, or the parameter I want to include there is, hey, I want to get it from X user, right? I want to get a tweet that has this word in it, right? I want a tweet that was posted at this time, right? Those are the different parameters I need, okay? So, back to here. And back to this post slash filter thing. Now, what is this resource URL thing, right? So, the Twitter API, which is as in this Twitter object or Twitter class that we're getting from online using Node.js, it basically packs in a bunch of HTTP stuff into this thing called client, right? So typically you wouldn't typically if you weren't using this Twitter API, you were using just HTTP, and HTTP is its own library. You would actually type in, instead of dot post, just dot post, right, or like just dot get, you would actually include this resource URL. But again, since we're using this API, it does all that extra stuff for us, right? It includes it automatically. Now, look, here's some resource information. It comes in a JSON format, right? Which is basically saying, hey, the thing that Twitter's going to give back to me once I request something is in the JSON format, which means it's going to be an object, right? Or a list, okay? That's all that's saying. It's going to come back in JSON. Requires authentication. Yes, right? What that means is, hey, you actually have to include your consumer key and access token and this stuff, your username and password to actually use it, right? You have to be logged in essentially in order to post something or get, or in this case, post statuses / filter in order to get these these tweets, right? These Twitters. And rate limited, that means, hey, okay, the Twitter API, if they allowed every coder to post like 1 trillion tweets a second, their servers would be bogged down like crazy, right? So what instead is, they limit the number of tweets you can post and stuff, so, or even the tweets you can get back from them. So that's why they have this rate limited thing here. Rate limited is yes, and most of the time, when you use an API, the rate will be limited anyway. So I don't know why they include this rate limited yes thing. So now let's look at the parameters here. Oh, one last thing. You'll see this example request here, and you're like, this looks nothing like my JavaScript code, and that's because, I think this is in PHP. A lot of the examples they have on this Twitter website are in PHP, because PHP is another, I guess, easy way to make HTTP requests. So, and I'll show you guys something crazy later, but essentially, what this Twitter API is doing is it's actually creating this super long link, right? This super long URL, which is, it makes no sense, but it creates a super long URL starting actually with this line right here, this resource URL. It starts with this, and then it has like a question mark, and then it has the name of all the parameters equals, and then it has the name of the first parameter, an equal sign, its value, right? And then at, and then the name of the second parameter, and then blah blah blah. So it's a huge list of all the parameters, and starting with the resource URL, right? And it actually sends that single request to Twitter, right? It's not sending all this information, right? It would actually just send one link that has all of it in it. So that's just some insight on how HTTP works, okay? So enough of me blabbering on. Here's the name of the parameters I can give it, right? I can say who I want to follow, and again, it tells you whether or not you actually have to include those parameters. Is it follow? Follow is optional, right? Track is optional, right? Follow is who you want to follow, right? From who do you want, from whom, I guess, do you want the tweets from? And track is, hey, what kind of words do you want the tweet to have, right? Right now, we're all looking for all kind of tweets as long as they're from Trump, right? So follow, instead of my username here, what is Trump's tweet? The real Trump or something like that? What is his Twitter? Do any of you know, like, off the top of your head? Hi, John Cini. Okay. Let's look at Trump's Twitter. No. All right, let's look at Trump's Twitter. What's it called? Donald Trump. Okay, it's his screen name. Oh, no, hold on. It's his. What is his user ID? Wait, okay. You have to give a user ID, which is basically a number assigned to, that's like specific to every Twitter account. Kind of like how every student at MHS has like an ID. IDs. Okay, at Donald Trump 1011. Can I get his Twitter ID somehow? No, this is Donald Trump. Who's Donald Trump? Donald Real Donald Trump. Oh, that's it. Real Donald Trump. Okay. Real. It's sad when you have to say you're the real Donald Trump, right? Real Donald Trump. Okay, what is his account ID? I should like memorize this. I don't know why. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, whatever. Real Donald Trump Twitter ID. What's his Twitter ID? Nope, I'm not gonna get it. How do I get his Twitter ID? Hold on. let's figure this out. See follow for more information. Standard stream parameters. Whoa, wait, hold on. I think there's a get Twitter ID. Get ID. Show ID. Oh, here. Okay. Oh. Alright, we're gonna figure out what his ID is. Alright. No, this is get. Wait, hold on. What is this? Returns a single tweet? Really? Why would it return a single tweet? Okay, wait, here. I have an idea. So we're gonna use the code we used earlier, right? Where we just print. Okay, hold on. Params. What's his name? What's it? Something name. Screen name, right? Screen name. We can use a screen name. Alright, okay. If you guys don't understand what I'm doing here, alright? I'm gonna ask. This is gonna take a long while, by the way. Excuse me. Actually, let's just get the first one. I don't wanna. Excuse me. We're gonna ask Twitter for Trump's first or the most recent Trump tweet, right? We're gonna ask Twitter for the most recent Trump tweet, and when it gives us the Trump tweet will actually include who sent it and also the ID of who sent it. All right, so this is some genius level stuff, right? I'm actually, I'm basically figuring out what is Trump's user ID. I'm pretty sure there's an easier way to do it. Like they have a website, they have an like somewhere online, somewhere on their documentation, they have a way to get their ID, someone's ID. But for now, I'm just gonna use the code I commented out earlier. I'm gonna uncomment this, and I'm gonna have follow again, and here I'm gonna include the ID of Trump, right? Trump. Okay, that's gonna take a while. So assuming we already have Trump's ID, what other kind of things can we use, right? So we can include whether length should be limited. No. Okay. Alright, okay. Returns public statuses that match one or more filters, predicates, multiple parameters may be specified. Can I turn off? I wonder if I could turn off. Okay, I gotta check if they're retweets. That's one thing, because I think it'll include all the retweets as well. But I just want Trump's tweets. All right, I don't want anyone else's tweets that he retweeted. So, all right, if you haven't been here or don't know what's going on, we're digging in deep. All right, so we have. Okay, all this code is basically asking Twitter for Trump's tweets right now, and then eventually it'll allow us. Okay, sweet. It'll allow us to print Trump's print in response to Trump. Print. No, okay. Basically, we're getting Trump's tweets, right? Now you might be asking, hey, you get Trump's tweets right here. Why are you doing this whole stream thing? All right, I need to correct myself. We're not only getting Trump's tweets. We're getting Trump's tweets real time. All right, we're getting Trump's tweets real time. So this is his ID. It's 250. Here, I'm gonna copy this over. Follow. We're basically okay. if you weren't here earlier, we're looking at Trump's. We're asking for his most recent tweet, right? And his most recent tweet, that object that Twitter actually gives back to us will include also all the information on the guy that sent that tweet. And the guy that sent that tweet is Donald J. Trump, all right? So we can, I never said Trump in one sentence so many times. But basically, we're finding his Twitter ID because when you're looking for tweets real time, you don't actually look for them by their screen name, right? you'd look for it by their user ID, right? And if their user ID is, again, like we have IDs at school, it's just a specific number that we can use. So 250-73877. So if you want to use the Twitter API as well, memorize this number. It's like his phone number, right? You can, if you want to post tweets to Donald J. Trump or get his tweets real time, this is the number you got to remember, okay? So now that we have that parameter, right, when we send this request, right, this params request, right, to do this stream thing, now we're asking only for Donald J. Trump's tweets. So we're going to ask for, the problem with this is, now I can only test my code when he tweets something real time. I can't actually test it actively. So I might be using this get thing here more often, just because it allows us to test like some translating stuff before we actually deploy this Twitter bot, right? So I'll show you guys how to deploy this Twitter bot on a virtual machine. What does that even mean? A virtual machine, I'm going to explain this a little bit earlier just for fun, right? A virtual machine is when you get you basically run a mini computer on either your own computer, you run a computer inside your computer, or you run a computer in some crazy hardware underground, like a warehouse that like Amazon warehouse, right? They actually sell off pieces of their computer to people as virtual machines. So you get to buy, no, it's not really buy, you get to rent their virtual machine, right? So enough of that. Okay. So what this should do is it should log us Twitter data, right? So every time Trump posts something, this will instantly do something. This will instantly log something, okay? And our goal is to now put inside of here, right? When he tweets something, we want to say clients.post, right? Blah, blah, blah. His tweets, his tweet in Spanish, okay? That is our goal for the next lesson, okay? So what did we do this lesson? We learned how to do real-time, tweet, like, getting, right? Basically, we open this connection between us and Trump that stays open, right? Instead of us closing it after we're using it, right? After we're done sending an email, like that connection closes, right? But by saying stream, we actually keep that connection on. So whenever the Twitter website does something, we get it real time. We don't have to request it like every single second, or like we don't have to request it every once in a while. We can just request it right when the website does something. Okay, so that was kind of a slow lesson. We didn't get much done today. That's okay. I'm fine with that. We have plenty of days to come. It was mostly like debugging and stuff. And also, one more thing that we learned today is how to do these little config.json file, right? So, which basically makes it so that each of our like code each of our usernames and passwords are separate. You guys can make your own config.json file with your own usernames and passwords. I'm sorry. So that when you log into the Twitter client, you can use your own credentials instead of mine. So that's basically it. I don't want to hold you guys any longer. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a good night and a good week, and I'll see you guys on Friday. All right. That's basically it. I'll see you guys later. Thanks again.